Hello, and welcome to video 3 in the Van City Business Climate Series on decarbonization and funding the change. I'm Jill Doucette, Executive Director of the Synergy Foundation. Before we begin, we would like to respectfully acknowledge that we are presenting today on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Coast Salish and Kwakwaka'wakw people. In this video, we'll be talking about real examples of how you can decarbonize your business while making it more resilient to rising costs. Climate action and reducing emissions is a journey. Every small action can lead to big changes. Keep this in mind as we look through the process and specific opportunities. Consider what actions you can implement now and which may require more planning. We often hear terms such as carbon neutrality and net zero, so let's look at the meaning of these terms. Following the yellow line, all businesses start at current state. This could be referred to as your baseline year. The first step is to reduce emissions as much as possible through operational or design changes. The remaining emissions could be neutralized through the purchase of carbon offsets, resulting in a carbon neutral company. Businesses who fully reduce their operational and process emissions to zero through using 100% renewable energy and other mechanisms could reach the lofty goal of becoming net zero. Businesses who actively engage in emission reductions further by producing more energy than they need, for example, could become net negative and actually reduce more emissions than they emit. Carbon neutrality is when the emissions you produce equal the emissions you have offset through verified carbon credits. Net zero is achieved when your business's total emissions net out to zero through positive activities such as tree planting or producing renewable energy. Whatever your end goal may be, businesses generally follow this process when working on decarbonization. Start with a baseline and get a clear picture of your total emissions. Determine what key reduction strategies you may use and set an emission reduction target. Develop an action plan, and then continue an annual process of implementation, assessing your GHG emissions, potentially purchasing offsets to achieve carbon neutrality, and resetting your annual action plan. And this process can continue in order for you to be implementing those small changes that lead to bigger impacts. So you may be wondering, where do I focus when it comes to decarbonization? Let's assume you have an emission reduction target of 50% by 2030 in alignment with science-based targets. Make a long list of all the opportunities within your business, focusing on your key emission reduction sources. You can then filter and shortlist those opportunities based on some of these key criteria. First, you want to ensure you're getting a good return on investment. Second, you may look at aligning with your business plans, making changes while doing renovations, or making changes when it's time to purchase something new. For example, it's time to retire and purchase a new vehicle. You can also look at opportunities to create co-benefits. For example, incentivizing low-emission commuting can also have staff health benefits. And start with low barrier first. Don't start with the most complicated multi-step project first. Start with the small wins. Change to 100% post-consumer recycled paper. Reduce your landfill waste. Change to LED lighting if you still have older fixtures. Just get some momentum. And of course, look at aligning with your team's passion areas. Perhaps certain members of your team are really passionate about reducing waste in your business. That might be the best place to start. Let's go back to the example businesses that we covered in video 1 and look at how these companies could reduce their emissions. Here we have the same manufacturing business that we showed you in video 1. Their decarbonization actions include reducing natural gas usage in the plant with investments in newer equipment. They're also looking at switching from natural gas hot water tank system to an electric on-demand that will further reduce their natural gas. And finally, they're looking at purchasing an electric delivery van and adding solar to the roof of their plant to charge the van. That will reduce their fuel usage. Next, we have the construction company that we showed you in video 1. To reduce emissions in this business, they're looking at improving their waste sorting on site, introducing smaller vehicles in their fleet for non-heavy duty work, which will reduce their fuel usage, creating a carpooling program for staff to reduce their commuting, and looking at air source heat pumps for their offices to reduce their natural gas consumption. The next business is a hotel. This hotel is going to decarbonize their operations by linking room key cards to in-room heating systems to ensure that the heat is turned off while guests are out. This tackles their largest emission source, which is natural gas. This business will also look at installing low-flow fixtures to reduce hot water demand, which will further save on energy. In addition, this hotel is planning to build a whole new wing. So in that construction planning, they're looking at a geothermal system so that they don't continue to grow their natural gas usage with their expansion. And finally, this business will be adding a composting system to their in-room to reduce their landfill waste. Here are some additional ideas for decarbonization in different categories of operation. Under transportation, you may look at your ground vehicles and which vehicles could be more efficient or could switch to renewable energy sources. You might also consider reducing your business travel or finding more sustainable ways for employees to commute or work from home. Under building and land use, new construction is a great opportunity to look at cleaner energy sources and reducing the embedded emissions in the materials that are used for construction. You can look at ways to increase the efficiency of your HVAC or heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system to ensure that your business is operating efficiently and reducing your greenhouse gas emissions. You could also look at using your landscaping waste on site for mulching to reduce your compost. Other areas of consideration in buildings include efficient water use and further electrification. In the food category, you can look at plant-rich menus to reduce the carbon footprint associated with high carbon proteins. Reducing food waste is one of the top areas for emission reduction, which also has a positive implication on the entire supply chain. You can look at permaculture farming and supporting farms that have good practices with regards to sustainability and climate action. And of course, composting any organic waste that still remains. Under materials and waste, consider applying a circular economy lens, looking at waste as a potential resource and finding creative ways to reuse it. You can also look at recycling things like electronics, paper products, and ensuring durable goods such as furniture have a home at the end of their life or can be deconstructed and recycled. In the energy category, you can consider solar PV if you have an available roof space or other area for solar. Within buildings, especially in new construction, geothermal energy is a great opportunity to have a low carbon source of heating and cooling. You may also consider waste to energy options or solar thermal as well, especially if your facility has a pool or another source of consistent demand for hot water. So, how do we turn this into a plan? When creating your decarbonization plan, here are some tips and best practices. Include your short, medium, and long-term actions. Prioritize the ones that will give you those immediate cost savings. You can use those to fund the other initiatives. List the co-benefits of the action so you can understand how working on decarbonization can also improve employee well-being and have more efficient work processes overall. Include your emission reduction target and any sub-goals. For example, reducing waste by 50% within the next 3 years, and make sure that those are known within the plan so you all have a shared target to work towards. Ensure some of the bigger items in your plan have an estimated cost for budgeting purposes, as you may need to plan for that ahead of time and wait until that capital is available or can be sourced. You want to assign a lead or department to each action as well to ensure there's a line of responsibility. And finally, update annually and track your progress. A decarbonization plan should be no more than 12 months in length. You can revisit this and also determine what your medium and longer term goals are that will come later. Many of the decarbonization opportunities we've discussed will cost money. So here are some common places to look for financial assistance. VanCity has a PlanetWise program that can help you access financing for projects that are going to reduce your emissions. Ask your VanCity contact about some of the lending products that could support you in this journey. The province of BC has programs that can support building retrofits, electric car chargers, and other initiatives through their Clean BC program. You will also find links through Clean BC to other funding sources such as Environment and Climate Change Canada's website and the Low Carbon Economy Hub. In addition, utility companies such as BC Hydro have rebates for energy efficient equipment for many types of businesses. Through this video series, we hope you have gained some valuable insight and knowledge about how to measure your emissions, set a target for reduction, and find new ways to implement change. Now it's time for you to take action and start or continue your journey. You can refer to the Van City Small Business Resource Hub to stay informed. Thank you for watching the Van City Business Climate Series.